Hey, welcome back. This is DNA Money, and we changed the format a little bit. So today we're gonna try to react to this Jubilee video. You're not familiar with Jubilee videos
No,
at
never
all,
heard
right?
of these guys before.
So what Jubilee does is they usually invite people, have them rate something, and explain why they do that. This video is about them getting two groups of people. One of them is rich, one of them is poor, and I guess they're gonna discuss the topic of is the economy rigged, which you can kind of
Yeah.
probably say before the video starts who's gonna align on what.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say that the poor would probably be complaining more,
Of course.
realistically,
Yeah.
and then rich will. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah. So my prediction is the rich are gonna be 50-50 on the
On whether the economy is rigged. Or not.
yeah, and then the poor is gonna be 100%. But that's my
Yeah.
prediction.
Yeah.
So let's start watching it and see what we think about it.
Hey guy, I can make millions of dollars and use the exact same tax loopholes that a Donald Trump would use and pay effectively no tax. And does that make me a bad guy, or did I just study the tax code?
It makes you a bad guy, yeah.
What? This is getting
Hot
interesting.
takes already. Yeah. We should probably do similar kind of intros.
Step forward if you agree. Being poor is a choice.
Oh no, she's from the rich group.
I do not want to be disingenuous to ignore.
So it's interesting. Only two people agreed that
Step
being
down.
rich is a choice.
Maybe.
Oh, being poor is a choice. I mean,
Did
being
you
rich
say-
is
oh, being
definitely
poor
a
is
choice,
a
right?
choice.
But being poor,
I think it's a
What do you
choice
think?
as well. I think you have to think that it's a choice, because if you don't think that it's a choice, then you don't think that you can
do
make
anything
the other
about it?
choice, or you can't do anything about it. Meaning you won't be able to get out of being poor. So I think you have to think that it's a choice.
If you think of it in terms of mindset, then of course it's a choice. If you think of it as being like broke, having no money, that's not always a choice. I mean, there are different situations that can happen, like somebody stole something from you, somebody, yeah, your business partner stole money from you, or there's a lot of things can happen to like.
Well, yes, but if you have them in like the right mentality, you'll be able to get to the, to those levels to the rich level again. So let's, as you said, right?
Mhm.
If you were rich and then something happened to you, like someone stole your capital or the partner messed you up, like if you have those skill set that got you there in the first place, I think you will be able to rebuild that, right?
Yeah. Well, let's see what they say.
Let's see.
Systemic issues that we all experience, but I feel like it's 2021 and there's a lot of free resources. I mean, Facebook has a lot of free courses. I think that poor is also a mindset.
I agree. Originally, when I came out here, I started straight at the homeless shelter. I had to flee from domestic violence from my family. Most people in general don't choose to be poor, but since I've been here, specifically in LA, a lot of people outside, they don't want to come into the shelter because they'd rather be in the tent.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and that she says, like, yeah, when you're born in a poor family, right, you can't do anything about it because it wasn't
Yeah.
your choice to be born in that specific family. But as you grow up, you have those different opportunities, and in this country, people talk a lot about the equality of outcome and then the equality of opportunities,
Mhm.
right? And that's like the equality of, like, you can never achieve equality of outcome
Mhm.
because it depends like on individual's performance. However, you can try to have the equality of opportunities, and of course not everyone has the same opportunities here, but at the same time, as she mentioned in the beginning, like the free courses, all the other materials, and just resources,
Mhm.
like such as the internet, right, is the biggest resource. I think hasn't been a better time, lifetime across the human history overall, where you can get those resources, which would mean a lot of opportunities for you.
Yeah.
You need to realize that these people are on the street not because of their own choosing, but because of the system that we live in perpetuates these things.
If I could speak to that, I come from a family that once relied on food stamps, and I have been blessed enough to make millions of dollars in real estate. But had I bought real estate from 2005 to 2008, I'd probably be bankrupt today. I just bought it at the right time.
People wish to be rich, they don't want to be rich.
I don't know about that though. Like,
If he bought it in 2005,
well, yeah, if he bought it in 2005 and he leveraged it all, maybe he would be bankrupt, but a lot of time has passed. He could probably buy again or do something else. Like, even the act of buying an investment property itself, like, separates you by miles from other people.
yes, yeah. But at the same time, like if you talk about 2008 or
Yeah,
like
well,
2005,
he would have gone bankrupt maybe in 2009, 2010.
Yeah,
But it's 2022 right now.
he would have. You think he would have
Probably
recouped
recouped it,
Yeah.
or like he could have been even further, or maybe he wouldn't even lose anything and just cash flowed it, whatever. There's a lot of things, and I don't think it's like, oh, I just bought it at the right time. It's not my fault. It's like, well, it's probably that you are on another level
Being
at some.
proactive.
Yeah.
Like taking those risks. Yeah, no, I think that's true. And of course, it's impossible to predict like what would happen like if he went bankrupt. Like would he recover or would he not?
The difference is, do you take action? That
Yeah.
being said, I agree with a lot of your points you're making about people not really having the resources or the opportunity to have any kind of action plan.
Some people don't even want to be rich. Like, I don't want to be rich. Like, but I also don't want to be poor. I'm happy in the middle.
do you wanna
And I
do?
would want to live in a society where they could perpetuate people to lift themselves out of poverty through programs and just be in the middle.
Billionaires should not
What?
exist.
Wait. Why? Okay. No, I respect that. Like, if the person doesn't want to be rich, like, yeah, and whatever. Like, it's their choice, right? But it's interesting. It's interesting to see why. I would want to understand his mentality. Like, if you don't want to be rich, obviously there are reasons for that, and something is holding. Like, he probably has such a
You know
bad
what's-
perception
what's
about rich
the-
people.
And he doesn't believe he can be rich, and so he doesn't want anybody else to be able to be
Rich.
rich. I think
Could be.
that's what it is deep down. Like, it's not that he has this grand vision and he wants everybody to do good. I just think as he said, he doesn't want to be poor, but he doesn't want anybody to be rich either because he doesn't believe in himself. I think that's
well. Like, he didn't say he doesn't want anyone to be rich.
what I
He
think
said
that's
like
what he said.
he's like, I don't want to be rich myself. Like, I don't personally don't want to be rich.
Yeah,
That's what
and
he
then he said, I think we should bring up people not to be rich but to be
Like,
middle class
in the
through
middle class.
programs. What does that mean?
Through programs. I mean, socialism.
I think that's where he's coming from.
But I think also maybe because he in his circle of people that he hangs out with probably view rich as negative.
Yeah,
Like, he doesn't want to be viewed by people negatively. That could be another
but
reason. But he's like friends or whatever, his circle, right? Or
Yeah.
or maybe he thinks like it's a stigma, right? Like, people hate billionaires nowadays, and maybe he just doesn't want to be hated.
I don't see how anyone could ever spend $1 billion. It's not a necessity to have that much money, and I feel like there.
Well, a poor person would say that, but so like, how could anybody ever spend $1 billion? The thing about $1 billion is that you're
It's
not
not.
really spending it.
Yeah.
The $1 billion usually, like, it's a very rare thing when anybody has $1 billion cash.
In cash, yeah.
Yeah, and for their
I
own.
don't even know if it's like a rare. I don't think a person would have like any
Yeah.
billionaire would have $1 billion in cash. Like, that's just
and-
well, maybe some like
yeah,
Saudi
you would have to
prince
really trust that bank from going bankrupt to put $1 billion in it.
in cash.
Like, maybe if you have it in crypto, that kind of cash. But these people are buying companies. They're employing people with this money. Like, it's usually not in cash. It's in stock of the company that's
yeah, it's different assets.
that's
yeah.
employing people, that's building something, that's
Right.
improving the world. And you cannot spend $1 billion. So yeah, maybe you cannot, but I can buy a company or can buy
Yeah.
2 companies and like make,
Right,
make them better.
you just buy different assets. Like, you're not gonna. I mean, of course, some people buy like $200 million apartments or houses and like and yachts and stuff like that. There's a lot of like I think there is always a way to spend money, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's spending money is easy, and even probably you can find a quite easy way to spend a whole billion in cash.
But the
no one
statement
does
of
that.
billionaires should not exist, it doesn't make any sense, because like what if your company goes to $1 trillion, right? Like, what are you supposed to do? Give it what has to happen?
Wait, what are you
So
saying
like
again?
they're saying billionaires should not exist.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, how does that even work?
Like, I don't know.
The government
tax
owns
them.
everything, and it's full on communism, and like there's no private property. Like,
There is a certain cap in which, like,
Okay.
you can completely survive and thrive with this amount of money, and then if you surpass that, you're just hoarding.
And then we've seen what people with billions of dollars are doing with the money. They're going to space for fun. Like,
Right.
clearly, if we tax those people properly,
yeah, that's the dumbest thing I
get
ever
their
heard.
wealth
But
and distribute
that's
it to
fine.
people who need it, that'd be a much better use than going to space for fun.
All right, now we're talking about space. Well,
And everybody, Daniel, he's investing in space for a living. So
Yeah, so we invest in space tech companies, early stage companies, right? So this actually has gotten a lot of attention last year, right? When Bezos went to space, when Richard Branson went to space as well, right? And then SpaceX brought some people to space, I guess, professional astronauts, right? And, well, yes, it is expensive, and yes, they are doing it partially for fun, but it's crazy how much progress this means for the whole humanity, right?
Yeah.
There's like new aerospace vertical, and the fact that it's industry and the fact that it's developing, thanks to these guys, and thanks to Elon Musk in particular. I think people don't understand how much return this will generate overall for the whole humanity.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of technologies that have been invented due to development in the aerospace sector. We're talking about how NASA created all these new technologies, like even microwave that we use nowadays, or like, I'm not sure about cell phones, but a lot of different technologies essential that we use on a daily basis were created due to technologies that were, developed for space initially. So I think in the future, what these guys, like these billionaires, are doing now, it's going to affect the whole humanity. It's going to have such a tremendous return that no one can even imagine or calculate.
Yeah, and think about it. With these satellites that we put out in space,
Yeah.
this guy can watch communist propaganda and like have all of his opinions from it, right? So
Exactly.
So
He can
he's
access to internet
directly
wherever he
benefiting
is.
from it.
You look at a lot of billionaires who have gotten that way because of the just incredible amount of value they've given to society. I won't even talk about a huge, crazy billionaire. I'll talk about Jay-Z, who's a billionaire. He made amazing music. That's how he became a billionaire.
No.
And so I don't think it's the government.
This is not how he became.
Well, partially, yes.
Well, yeah, I guess he developed a brand, right, through his music and recognition, but then he built companies utilizing his brand, and those companies appreciated significantly in their value, and that's how he became a billionaire. But if he kept...
government's job to interject and say, okay, you have too much, we need to give it away. I mean, it would also never happen in any other arena. No one's going to go, hey, Simone Biles, you have too many gold medals. We're going to take them from you, and we're going to give them to the other people who weren't as talented as you.
Oh, that's a good point.
I completely agree.
I completely disagree. I feel like that is the government's job. And Jay-Z, like you said, Jay-Z made his money from music. That's his labor. He's a musician. He's selling his talent. But then when he invested in the alcohol, then he's using other people who are harvesting the wheat, the agave. They're breaking their back. They're using their labor.
So do you think that he should invest in those people? Should they just like say, the hell with your dreams, I'm not going to invest in you?
I'm
What,
saying,
what about the jobs?
what do you
they're,
mean?
They're having jobs.
Yeah, but how much are they getting paid for the jobs? Or those jobs in the third world where they're getting paid pennies,
Yeah,
and then
versus
Jay-Z
no
makes
job.
millions off
$1 billion, get a fraction of the value they create. Everybody here who has a business understands that. Even Jay-Z only gets 15 cents a record he sells. Okay?
That's true, actually. Like, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you pay to produce your products first. Like, even I now, like, I'm hiring people to like do designs for me, maybe marketing. Like, I
Right.
have to pay them first. I have to pay marketers first, designers first. I have to build the product, and only then I can sell it and maybe profit from it.
Yeah.
All of the risk is
Yeah.
entirely on me, unless I raise
Exactly.
it. And you can lose all your money too, like trying to cover some holes with the business and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And you like, let's say, especially if it's an early stage company, right? You'll be the first one. Well, at least if you're a good CEO and a founder, if the company is going through some financial difficulties, you'll be the first one to like give up on your salary, right?
Yeah.
To make sure the company continues to operate if needed.
And those people need jobs, and they need to sell stuff, and it's natural for like less developed countries to be sourcing and providing like less complex goods. So like for Jay-Z is gonna
Yeah.
sell the alcohol maybe, but like there is a lot of things that go into creating a brand.
Yeah.
like,
Like the whole value
uh,
chain, right? And those people
yeah.
in the third world countries, they usually are in the beginning of the value chain,
Yeah.
where they produce the raw materials and then selling those.
Yeah. So they benefit from it too. It is what it is.
I'm using exploited in the Marxian term where your labor creates
Marxian
value
term.
and then your employer takes that value and distributes it unevenly to themselves and then leaves the rest for the workers. That's exploitation. My name is David. I work for Disney in the entertainment.
That would make sense if you force them to work for you. Otherwise, doesn't make sense.
Especially nowadays, right? Like
Yeah.
there's still a lot of in proportions, it's not that many, right? But there is still a lot of, I guess, and again, I'm not an expert in this industry, but I think a lot of musicians or artists, they can list their music directly now on different platforms and can take like 100% of those, maybe not 100%, but more than if they worked with a certain record label, right?
Mhm.
It just would be a slower growth for them
Yeah.
if they did it independently. Plus, we have like new technology. Like a lot of people are talking about how NFTs could have a real utility in music industry where artists would get paid directly.
I'm doubtful about all of this because record labels. I'm not in that interested. I don't understand it quite much, but record labels do a lot of work for you. So like, I mean, how do you record the music? That's something record label can answer. Who do you partner with? So like, if like let's say these 5 artists are popping up and they're all signed to this record label, and you are coming into the industry, it would make sense for you to sign with this record label. So then, this record label will kind of not force, but like suggest to all of these artists to work with you because they're part of the same team, kind of.
Yeah, it's
And like
it's
you
way
get
easier.
into this ecosystem and then partnerships
Network,
and all
yeah.
that networking.
You have easier access to all those
yeah.
resources.
But record label, they can hire a person whose sole purpose it is going to be to find the best music video producers and creators, and
Right.
so
Plus, I think once you sign with this record label, again, you get access to all those people, right? And suddenly you're, as you said, you're in this ecosystem, and you create your own relationships. You develop those relationships with those people. So even if let's say your contract expires, like you still, after the contract expires, you still have access to all those people, and maybe then you can start doing it more independently, right? Like I think that's what all big name artists do.
In my character department, and I make around $33,000 a year.
How's your experience been working at Disneyland?
My experience working at Disneyland is very mixed. The workers themselves, like my coworkers, are amazing people. Unfortunately, the company is not so great. They don't pay us that much. They have enough money to pay us more. I think they should just pay us more, but I don't think they're going to do that. That's why I'm advocating.
So what he does, I think, is he puts on a costume and goes into Disney World and just plays a character.
It's a low
And
skill
he
job.
thinks he should be paid more.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because this is pretty much a free market economy, right? In this country, it's all about the value of your skill set and demand and supply for that skill set. If you do something that a lot of people can do and you're easily replaceable, obviously you're not going to get paid, large amount of money.
Yeah, and his previous argument was that companies like set you up for work and then extract uneven amount of money from you. Well, it's not like you could go anywhere on the street and like play this character and like make more money, right? So like they built this ecosystem of the park. They built those characters. They invested hundreds of millions of dollars in those characters to promote them, to create those movies, like hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars. And then you come in, you use all of their intellectual property, like those characters. You use their real estate. You use they come throughout, like from entire world into those Disneyland, Disney worlds to experience this fairy tale for their kids and for themselves. And then you're just pretty much standing there in a costume. It's like that's all you did, and that's what they did. And so, of course, they get 99% of the amount of money. See what they did and what you did, and tell me that it is uneven. I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
but I used to work for an amusement park, and this it sucks.
Here?
Yeah, it sucks.
It's very demanding and just tiring.
It is very demanding, tiring. It's very very much. It's just awful. Like everybody comes in having a good time, and you're just suffering there. And especially maybe for this guy, he's in a costume outside when it's hot, and it's like everybody's like, yay,
it's not
Batman, and he's like, I want to die right now. I'm only making like $15 an hour, so.
The economy is rigged.
Hi, my name is Bill Perkins. I run a hedge fund. I do investments and other things. I manage my own money. How much I make annually? Sometimes I lose money, but I'd say on average over $10 million a year.
Holy shit.
I think that there are barriers put in place to kind of prevent people from knowing the rules, but I think that it's out there and you can have access to it, and it's, I think that knowing the rules is different.
I know the rules, and I think they're disgusting. That's why I want to change them.
Why don't you play the game then? I mean, you can.
I think they're disgusting. Why would I want to play the game?
As a real estate guy, I can make millions of dollars and use the exact same tax loopholes that a Donald Trump would use and pay effectively no tax. And does that make me a bad guy, or did I just study the tax code?
It makes you a bad guy, yeah.
You think so?
If you do that, yeah.
I'm following the law to a T.
The law is wrong, yeah.
Like, why would you think if you're doing something legal and if it allows you to save money, why would you say like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to pay more to the government. And by the way, the government is not a very efficient capital allocator.
Yeah. Well, what government is gonna do is just put it in the pockets of their donors and friends. So you end up in a worse situation when you started with most of the time.
I'm getting paid paycheck to paycheck, and on top of that, I have a crippling gambling addiction. I'm addicted to weed. I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to vaping. And as soon as I have that direct deposit, it's like I have no control. Almost like I black out and I start gambling, start ordering drinks, start ordering weed, and then I come out of that no control feeling, and I'm like thinking, how am I gonna feed my pets this week, my cat, my dog? Like I had all these plans up to my payday. Before I know it, all my money's gone, and it's addiction.
When you're in a position when you don't have a lot of money, you can't do a lot of things for fun, and you're often just like working. I have to survive, I have to feed myself. And so when you get that paycheck and you have just a little bit of enough money to do something that will spark joy for you, it's so hard to be like, no, I'll put it aside to save. It's like, I'll just do this one thing for myself, I'll just treat myself. And then it's like, well.
So they're pretty much admitting that it's their fault that they're poor.
You can probably get out of this yourself. And again, fortunately I don't have an addiction, so I don't know. But I'd say like she probably needs like professional help to do that, to end those addictions.
Professional help is not gonna help, because to get the professional help, you have to already start this process. So like it's not like the professionals are gonna
so
come into your house and force you. Like this is where family comes in, because they at least can like exude some force on you. The professionals, like, what are they gonna do? They make suggestions, like, okay.
Yeah, you have to desire to like end the addiction.
Yeah, and that's the first step. And then to actually stick with it, I think the community is like, that's why I think AA works. So Alcoholics Anonymous. That's why it works. I used to have a smoking addiction.
Like a real one?
Yeah, like it wasn't super bad. It was pretty bad. And then me and my friends, we just decided that we're gonna stop smoking. And then we kept each other accountable for like a couple of years. And I still, I still have this desire, this urge, but I can control myself. And my friends are not smoking, so we kind of beat it through community. I don't think maybe I could have done it myself, but maybe not. So it's definitely helps.
$15 an hour is not enough for minimum wage.
What do you think? These guys are dashing to it, but $15 is...
How much is that per month? Like 40-hour week?
2,500 maybe?
I mean, that's a minimum. It's the bare minimum, right?
In California,
In California. I mean, it's still good. Like, it means wherever, like, if you get a job, legal job anywhere, you'd get paid at least $15. I'd say it's pretty good.
I'd say it is too. I mean, we're coming from, like, in Russia, it's like the minimum wage is, it's like, what, 70 cents an hour if you work 40 hours a week?
And you probably end up working more than that, actually.
Yeah.
More than...
So...
Yeah.
$15 an hour, that's fine. I think for an adult, it's kind of strange to work at the job that only pays $15 an hour. So there's so many ways to make more than $15 an hour that these jobs are very, very much fine for like 16-year-olds that can work, 17, 18, 19-year-olds that only starting their like careers.
What's interesting is how bigger companies can afford higher minimum wages, like big corporations. Smaller businesses that compete with bigger corporations may not afford higher minimum wage, which means that these businesses will most likely go, out of business. Less competition for corporations. And it's like, I remember at the time when like Amazon was for, bigger and higher wages. But at the same time, like this SMBs, they were like, holy shit, we can't afford that. Like Amazon can. It means, more market, like a bigger market share for Amazon eventually.
There's a lot of jobs that pay way more. Like those jobs don't even require that much like different skill sets. Yeah. If you have a driver license, welcome. Like you can deliver packages for Amazon and get paid like $20 an hour. If you can like buy your own van and like deliver packages for smaller businesses or Same for Amazon. Even like you can probably make $40 an hour. Like that's the route I went initially, and like, what is it? Driver license? Like every 16-year-old in this country has a driver license. Like it's not that crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's just, of course, it's more risk you're driving. Like it's, yeah, you have to maintain your car, you have to fuel it, and have to pay insurance and stuff. But
I did have a question for you two. You both mentioned that you suffer from addiction, and that as soon as you get a paycheck, it's gone, whether it's gambling or weed or shopping or whatever. If you had a higher income, would that change?
Personally, yes, because the whole reason I gamble is like, let me get that $60,000 win and I'll stop gambling. That's my mindset, right? And another thing is, I feel like if I were to have like passive income, I guess you can say, or be financially stable, I can pursue and distract myself with my actual passions.
Passive
like,
income?
I want to start a true crime YouTube channel, but I don't have the laptop, I don't have the camera. The addiction takes control, so I don't think about the things I don't have, and I just feel numb and thoughtless, and I'm just enjoying my TV.
I feel like this is just sad at this point.
It's just fucking excuses.
Yeah.
Like you can save up like
For a
like,
computer, you can buy a computer for $200.
For $200, you can buy a like you can use your phone.
Yeah.
Even, you know. Of course, it's not gonna be well. Depends on what phone you have, but
I mean, any phone.
she probably has iPhone, right?
Well, maybe she doesn't, but any phone can record a video.
And it's gonna be like good quality too, right?
Somewhat. I mean,
1080p would be.
Yeah,
it's
true crime.
nowadays
Like,
everyone has that.
if she doesn't have a computer, well, you have to edit the videos and like. But I mean, this is it's like
pure excuses. Well, and if you avoid those addictions, of course, I'm not
like,
saying it's like gonna be easier
take
to
2
get rid of
months.
this, but yeah, like several months. Okay, even if it takes like half a year to a year.
It's not gonna, but
Yeah,
would
but even
somehow-
if that, like, okay, you saved up enough to do that, and you know, get a camera, get whatever stuff you need to start pursuing your passion and create and.
But there's certain jobs that are not worth $15 an hour, just frankly not worth it. Maybe they're worth 5, maybe they're worth 2. I want you to watch TV for an hour in your house and tell me how many commercials come up, because I'm doing a survey. I'm gonna pay you $7 an hour. You think I should have to pay you $15 an hour for that? Or would you take $7 an hour to sit on your couch and count commercials that show up on a television?
I mean, yeah, I would take any money.
Okay, so everybody here agreed that it should be $15 an hour minimum wage. Yeah. But by making the wage $15 an hour, you just eliminated a job that he's willing to do.
More money, more problems.
it's a fair argument. It's just not really a good one. So like in isolation, it's a fair argument. You can still pay the guy like $10 for this, or like $5 for this. What minimum wage is covering is employment. So like
You
if
have
you
to be
hire,
W2, right?
Yeah, you have to be W2.
Yeah.
Like hire them 1099 and pay them $10. Like that's fine. But more money, more problems. Do you agree? I'd
To a certain
say-
extent, I think to a certain extent, and I think the degree of those problems becomes higher. Like maybe there is a less number of problems.
I think more money, different problems. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but also I think it depends on how much money. You know, if you get to like 10 million, I don't know if there's like too many more problems. But if you get to like 100 million or half a more significant, then there's a lot of problems, and they are way more significant.
I made it a point to position myself adjacent to people who I felt like I could learn from. I remember parking my little Chevy Cruze up off of Griffith Observatory in Hollywood Hills just to be around money.
You guys mind if I
Is there money around Griffith
A
Observatory?
lot of the problems in my life would be solved with just, not even if I was rich, but just like a little bit more money. I would just have so much less stress and less things to worry about, and I wouldn't be finding myself in these situations where I'm worried about how am I going to pay rent, how am I going to get gas to drive, how am I going to eat.
More money, like more social responsibility, right? Going back to.
What does that mean?
Like if you're a billionaire, then you have social responsibility to take care of people who might have less than you.
Really? I'm not seeing that. In modern
You
day
have
life.
billionaire beef. You got a billionaire
modern day
beef.
life, what are billionaires doing?
I want to add
He just doesn't realize that, like even the $30,000 that he makes a year, he only makes because everybody did their job before him, for him to be able to do it. It might not seem like when you're in it, but at some point maybe he's gonna earn more money and he's gonna realize, oh,
I don't want to
there's
share it.
well, that true too, but there's a lot of things that go into like maybe that's what. So like recently I've been realizing that yeah, maybe it's a lot, really a lot about the mindset that you have with making money and stuff. So like, it's not like all mindset and like no skill and all that stuff. Like the vloggers are trying to push on you all like money mindset and like you gotta understand that you can make more and stuff and you're gonna make more. It's.
I know. I
But
think
for
it's a
people like
skewed.
this, I think that's applicable. Like if only they could
Yeah.
understand that they could be more than what they are, and they could create something of value, and how actually the value is distributed in the economy, maybe they would change their perspective and they would actually make more money. Like he'll be like, oh, maybe I can go, I don't know, like I don't know, drive a truck, as I said before, but
Yeah.
maybe he could do like private events with the characters and stuff that he's already doing. Right, that's not more money. Maybe he could
True.
organize people who do those private events, or maybe he could get in front of the clients that want those private events, and then he could like. There's a lot
There's
of
a lot of
even in
opportunities,
what he is doing, but
He just complains like he doesn't think
I
about
just
other
don't think he
opportunities.
understands like where all of these even 30,000. He thinks
And look, he's not being open-minded either, by the way.
Mhm.
He's not even trying to understand the other perspective. He just like, no, this is not true. Like, I don't see that. Like, and I don't know why he doesn't. Okay, does it mean that he's saying that no rich person has, or like are socially responsible and let's say make donations or help, like,
not even okay make donation, but they employ people and they provide for those people, right?
I like the song More Money, More Problems.
I like it too.
It's jammy.
I love
But
the song.
it's really more money, different problems.
Yes.
different
That's
problem.
a
Nice.
That's a wrap.
All right, that was a very rapid stop.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
What do you think?
Honestly, I enjoyed watching. I think it was like really interesting. I like I guess I like the whole idea of this show or of this particular episode. I think it was interesting to hear like those both perspective, and I think they're still super different mentality, different backgrounds, obviously, but just different views on the world and how everything works. No, I think this is an episode where you can extract a lot of like lessons and hopefully gain new perspective. 'Cause
Hopefully, yeah. I still think a lot of people are gonna watch this video and be like, stick to their already.
yeah,
the
because I think
position that they
it's
have.
way easier.
Yeah. But the video is great. I think the topics are great. I think the socialism is a mind virus, and these people should learn history.
Yeah.
It's all of these billionaires should not exist. Like that's not even doesn't even make any sense. Like how would you?
Yeah, it's like you would limit their freedoms of
No,
making
like
more
it's
money.
not even. How would it mathematically make any sense?
Well, as he said, like he thinks that there's some person said there should be a cap.
How? Tell me how. I know what he said.
Maybe
he
they
doesn't know
take away
anything,
your
but-
equity, or you're required to pay more taxes where the cap is.
So like,
always
let's
there.
say I own a company, like let's say I own it outright. It goes to $10 billion.
and then suddenly your taxes get fucking to 80% or 90%.
No, but I don't realize the gains. I still own it. So what has to happen? Like what's
that's a good point.
what government takes 90% of my company, and then what if the stock drops? Like and
they give it back to you.
what they,
No,
yeah.
look, I don't think these people even like realize the whole like how
Nah.
this could potentially work.
Yeah, I think it's a good episode. Go ahead and watch the full video if you're interested. Follow Jubilee, follow us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys. Like, comment.